You built a $750,000 business in 4 years, and you have 1% of the market. That needs to
Not
be
even,
not
not
even
even, not
1%.
even 1% yet. I'm still trying to get
Oh,
to the 1% mark. Yeah.
that's an amazing statement that I just want to highlight because that goes to paralegals thinking like it's going to get too saturated. There's not enough success to go around.
Never, never. It's
Never.
never going to get too saturated. There's not even enough service providers in the country or the world for it to be.
Right? Welcome to the Paralegal and Business Podcast. Jaclyn Foster here. You're about to listen to a very condensed version of the guest expert interview inside the Paralegals and Business Society. I had Heather Gardner, founder of Propel Paralegal Services, come on for a really amazing conversation all around the theme of how she focused her business into that bankruptcy specialty, really niched down, really got clear on her ICP, her ideal client persona, and ultimately ended up scaling that business to $750,000 by year 4. And what she credits a lot of that success to is getting so very specific in her service offering. Why I wanted to bring Heather in for January is the shift in the industry that's happening right now is really based around attorneys getting smarter about how they're staffing their firm. When we first saw this sort of uptick and change where we're seeing more freelance paralegals and agencies offering paralegal services and more remote jobs right after the pandemic, attorneys were more like scrambling, trying to find an extra set of hands to help them. Whereas now, as we've evolved 5 years, 6 years later, into attorneys getting smarter about how they're staffing their firms. And as a result, they're focusing more in a solution-based mindset. And it's just a very subtle adjustment to how I coach paralegals to start their businesses, is to really focus on the problem of an attorney plus your solution equals what result. And the closer and closer you can get to that, the better. The more marketable you are, the better you're able to target an ideal client persona, the better you're able to network effectively, build a brand, build a presence and an authority within this online industry of virtual paralegal legal process outsourcing. So that's why I really wanted to bring Heather in, because she just basically drives home that methodology, if you will, that I take to business. So after you listen to Heather's conversation, come join us in the Paralegals and Business Society. It is $9.99 per month. After you've signed up, you will start with a 21-day self-paced roadmap helping you to design a real paralegal business plan, whether you are ready to jump into business full time, or maybe you just want to explore what your business would look like. You can't quit your job overnight, and we're very mindful of that within the society, to do this at your pace with very little risk to your current livelihood. Once you get in as well, you'll have access to the full interview with Heather. You'll note in this interview, she talks about her first clients, how she gained momentum within her business was through some cold outreach. And so as such, the mini training that's waiting for you inside the society is all about getting those first few clients by messaging through LinkedIn, including scripts that don't sound like scripts that you can make your own. We've had amazing success being reported back by the paralegals inside the society. And so come join us. We have an amazing community. It's very active. We have a private channel for discussions and networking and job opportunities for business and all the things. So enjoy today's mini episode and come join us in the Paralegals and Business Society. $9.99 a month, cancel anytime. See you inside. Our first guest expert in the Paralegals and Business Society, which is super exciting. I've obviously followed your journey for many years of, how you started, and I watched your transformation, obviously through social media and posting, from starting as a paralegal in business to growing this amazing team, scaling beyond yourself, to now recoiling your business back to a focus area. And I'm really excited to talk to you about that last piece of it eventually as we get going, because I think that's where the industry is heading. Law firms are no longer just delegating tasks. They're not outsourcing tasks. They're outsourcing solutions. And so it's becoming more important now than ever in the legal process outsourcing to become holistic solutions, which in order to do so, you really need to get identified your ICP and what you do really well.
I went back to school to get my paralegal degree after a divorce in my late 30s. So I had stayed home for around 15 years, raising a family, not worked. I'd gone to college when I was young, not finished that degree, and just kind of left and was a stay-at-home mom. And I got divorced when I was 36 or 37. I went back to school to do my paralegal degree. And I knew even during that time, one day I want to just own my own virtual paralegal business. This is going to be a thing. I also knew I needed several years of law firm experience before I did that. So I graduated and went to work and just happened to work all in bankruptcy firms by chance. I kind of saw that as bankruptcy chose me, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times, paralegals, when I'm at conferences or things, will say, why bankruptcy? Like, what a weird, and I always say, oh, I think bankruptcy chooses us. It's not really something you go into intentionally.
Right. I can
But
imagine.
I ended up loving it. I ended up just really loving that field. When I went to my last law firm to work, which was here local, that attorney told me he was going to retire in 5 years. And I said, that's perfect. That's when I'll start my business. And that was 2021. But COVID changed his plans and he decided not to retire that year. So I was going to stay and wait it out with him, because I really adored him and we worked really well together. And we're still good friends. By late that year, they had reduced our hours a couple of times because of COVID, and because of everything that was happening and PIP and things of that nature. So one day I met with him and said, would it hurt you in the firm if I went ahead and left now? And he was going to be working toward going part-time, et cetera, anyway. And he said, no, but I'm not going to get a new paralegal. I'm just not going to break another one in.
Yeah.
So he said, if I need help with bankruptcy, would you just help me, outside of here? And I said, absolutely. So that's kind of what we did. The other side of the firm, the legal assistant on that side could help him with his other work. And I could help if he needed help, with bankruptcy. So I started, it was me and a partner. She was a former coworker who did family law, but within a month or two, that partnership was just falling apart. We were not working out, and I was working full time doing the business. I had set it up, done everything. She was still working at a firm full time and, gonna ease into this, but we went ahead and parted ways, decided to just do our own thing. We started, I think, August. So by September, October, we split. I bought her out for what we had both put in. And from there, I wanted to do strictly bankruptcy, but I was afraid to. So at first, I was offering everything. I thought I'll never be able to be successful or make enough or even get up to what I used to make in the firm if I only do bankruptcy. I knew from day one that I wanted to scale at some point, and I honestly believed in the beginning, maybe like a year down the road, I'll need to hire a person to help me. That actually happened about 2 months in or something like that.
Yep.
But I really believed in the beginning it was going to move a lot slower and that I would have like this 3 to 5 year time to sort of learn to build and run a business. And none of that worked out, as you know, and it happened to you as well. Came in a year after you took your course. And that was really helpful for me to see that you had had a similar experience. I think I reached out to you even back then a few times, just
Yeah.
kind of struggling with, this is overwhelming. I'm not sure what to do.
Yeah.
But I was really afraid that there would be no way that I could build a successful, thriving, multi six-figure or seven-figure anything with just one area of law. It was very freeing the first time I said to an attorney, I can't take this on, but I do have a great referral. There was something just so liberating about that, being able to say no.
What worked best for you in your rhythm of getting momentum off the ground for your business, for new clients?
For client acquisition. In the early, when I started, I literally looked up and found every email I could for every bankruptcy attorney in Maryland that I could find just online. And I just typed up this cold email marketing thing myself, and I literally just started sending them out. And out of probably a couple hundred, I got one attorney from that.
Yeah.
And he was my second client, still a client, but I feel like that's like cutting your business teeth, doing something that raw and that simple, and you just don't know what to do. I remember in my first few months working one time for 24 hours because a paralegal quit with a project that was due the next day, and I had to stay up and take care of it. It was something I did not know how to do. This is one of those lessons, get out of other areas of law that you don't know how to do. I can remember crying at my desk a couple of times that year because I didn't have time to take a shower or eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I felt like that was good. I felt like that was sort of cutting your business teeth, if you will. I'm becoming a business owner.
Oh, it is. It totally is. And I remember when I first started my business too, and I was getting all these clients and all these different practice areas, and I'm like, I needed to start bringing in paralegals. And then I was suddenly doing the paralegal work and trying to manage other paralegals and having issues and paralegals backing out on me last minute. And I just was crying one day, and I can remember texting my friend. She was a massage therapist that I actually turned into a paralegal at my first firm.
Oh,
And I was just venting to her. I'm like, I don't know. This business is eating me alive. Maybe I just am not cut out for this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I remember her saying to me, it's your business. So treat it like such. Like, you can change whatever you don't like about it. You have that control. And I think we get into our heads too much about we have to do it this way to be successful. And we have to have X clients and scale to this level to be successful. But when you really focus in on like the personal aspect of it and slowing down, how do I want to live and execute my day to day? I'm slowly getting there. You can. And that's like you said, it's just I don't want to say it's like you have to go through it. You don't have to struggle and cry in order to be a good business owner, but you're going to feel those days.
right. And you
Getting
you
through, you
touched,
got to get through it.
yeah, the only way through is, yeah, to walk through it.
Right.
And earlier you talked about networking. That is something I cannot stress enough. I think that has been a huge part of my success as well. Really putting yourself out there, and not just bankruptcy, other people in your industry, other legal services provider, attorneys, law firm owners, collaborating. This is something I always have really felt, and I think you talked a lot about this in your course, is, there's enough work for all of us. It's not a competition. And I love that, and I've always had that attitude. But I love to collaborate with as many other legal services, entrepreneurs and owners that I can. And really getting out, it helps you in so many ways. Like you will grow as a business owner and as a person if you just go out and engage with people and learn from people, and it makes you feel less alone.
It does.
And as an entrepreneur, like we talked about, burnout, founder burnout is so real. I've gone through it multiple times and recovered, thankfully, every
Recovered. At
time.
least you
Yeah.
recovered. That's all that matters, Heather. You're still with us.
You're the only one I've taken a course with.
Really? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That makes me feel good. Thank you. I'm blushing. I'm blushing.
I send everyone to your course.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
you're
what you're
right.
doing here. It made me feel so much less alone and, so much less hopeless, if you will, in those early days when business is the most scary when you're just starting out.
Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. As a reminder, please come join us in the Paralegals in Business Society, $9.99 a month, and start your own personal 21-day paralegal business plan pathway, as well as gain access to resources like this interview with Heather, the full interview with Heather, as well as ongoing guest experts, mini trainings, tools, and an amazingly supportive community of paralegals in business, and job opportunities and marketing strategies and the fun stuff inside our society. You can access through the link and the info in the description. I'll see you inside.